Welcome to Hillheads then for the second game of today. This time it's the Beacons B team taking on the table-topping Solway Sharks ladies in what is the Division 2 clash. I'm Adam Matman. I'll be calling this game for you this evening, and a nice 5 p.m. tea time slot. So we do hope you're enjoying it wherever you are tuning in from. Both teams just finishing off their warm-ups as the pucks are being collected in. But so say Solway arrive here with a 100% record, the only other team in the country other than the Beacons A team, who are currently top of Division 1, to have a 100% record, not to have dropped a single point all year. So quite a tall order for the Beacons B team, who are of course the defending champions and beat the Sharks here in this very fixture last season, and that pretty much confirmed them as league winners. But different sides this time. Certainly the Sharks have strengthened, and well, whilst this Beacons B team has got a lot of talent on it, the much younger side and lost a veteran core and a lot of scoring leadership, particularly their three top scorers, Ruby Newlands, who's no longer able to play on this team because she plays for GB. That's the rule that came in over the summer. Steph Box, who's left hockey and playing football right now, and captain Joy Hurst, who's still working her way back from injury. So the top three scorers from last season all missing for the Beacons, so very much a different side. Jess Kinghorn gets the start in goal, and starting on the forward line, Iona Harrison will be taking centre. Number 8, who's in your picture right now on her right wing, is former Solway Sharks ladies forward Becca Boardman, and Paige Brooks is going over there as well, who's captain in Joy Hurst's absence. On the top D pairing, Susie Rutherford is alongside Islay Northend. So Beacons will have 8 forwards and 4 D. As for the Sharks, looks like Clark is going to take the opening face-off for them. And it comes out straight away into the Sharks zone. We're going to get a whistle on the play, though, before we go any further. And we'll get a face-off just outside the blue line. So yeah, it's already a stoppage, and there's some confusion as to what side of the blue line it should be taken. And Mel Lydell, the senior official, just saying he's come across, which they'll now do. Iona Harrison going back into for the draw up against Lauren Clark. And it is the Beacons who come out with it, and Paige Brooks almost getting caught high up with a stick. I think Craig's stick just happened to loop up slightly by accident. Nice play by Susie Rutherford to steal the puck back. She'll dump it in. That's going to go for, well, they're going to call icing, but it was some way short of the end boards. But anyway, Mel was going to make sure that was going to get called for an icing. It will drag the play back into the Beacons end of the ice. So 25 seconds in, 2 stoppages early on then. Neither side really getting going. And an early opportunity for the Sharks to have, as I say, an icing call. And I think they've realised their mistake, so they're bringing the face-off back to centre ice. Indeed they are. So, well, it's back to where we were. So apologies for that. I think the officials realised it was a wrong call, which I did raise a question as to why it had been given. But anyway, back underway. And Iona Harrison, who has been a real breakthrough talent this year, doing well at centre ice and leading the side. Becca Boardman's got explosive speed. The fact the pair of them are fast skaters, and I know Becca will love to get a goal against her former side. These two sides met just before Christmas, where it was a 1-0 win to the Sharks, but they absolutely peppered the Beacons goal with 52 shots. I seem to remember that they had guesting for them in goal Evelyn Brown, who made her senior women's debut. So no line changes early on because, well, it's been a very stop-start, so neither team's really broke into a sweat. It's some rested legs already early on into the game. There's nice play by Becca Boardman, who tries to steal the puck back. Now the Sharks will go for a line change, as will the Beacons. And carried into the offensive zone. Hits Tanya Royce high up. But Sharks will look to control behind the net. Battle just in front of a crease. It will be carried out nicely though by Islay Northend. And then York will fire just wide of the goal and then behind. Sorry, Young even, Chloe Young. Battle into the corner, the public skating entrance. Puck looping up just on the plexi there before getting under control. Nice cut back here as the Sharks build in the offensive zone. So they've been in outstanding form this season and look set to win the North Division, where they'll book their place in the playoffs later in the season, in the end of May. They were there last year, but as runners-up, and as they just start to set that one up in the low slot, just steered wide there. As Young works a puck free into the corner, but Susie Rutherford goes with her, steals the puck back, sends it around the boards. But yeah, the runners-up also will join the league winners, so one would assume Solway will win the league. But that's a nice shot then, and the Sharks get the early breakthrough. And I believe it was Catherine Trachtenberg with the goal, Canadian-born player. Yeah, just the top two teams go through. One would assume Solway will be one of them with, second spots up for grabs, but looking likely to be between Widnes and Leeds right now. Battle in front of the Zamboni entrance. That pressure in the zone of Beacons just couldn't clear it. And the Sharks taking full advantage, really. And that proved to be the difference. As it's carried on the far side. Naomi Fisher getting into a challenge there with Iona Harrison. Puck worked loose and into the neutral zone will allow the Beacons to push out. With Amelia Hutchinson, the player on the near side, looking to break in. Forces Caitlin Jones to drop back. Three of the younger players who've come through from the under-16s now very much a part of this Beacons B side, and a great way of progression really. As the puck comes through, Jess will cover that one up, and we'll get a face-off in the offensive zone. It looks like Tanya Royce's line was about to go out there, but she'll head back. So the top line, Iona Harris's line, will stay out there for the time being. And Mo Muir will follow the puck into the corner. Comes back to Clark, who looks to get a shot away. Kick save, comes back out. Controlled in the corner by Vicky Hayter, number 31. It's controlled up on the near boards by the Beacons. Comes back out. Russell will control and gets caught in possession as Harrison will look to break in. She's got Becca Borman up for support. She'll let fly from distance, and I tell you what, that wasn't far off the outstretched glove there of Meikle. Did ever so well there, Iona. She'd worked the opportunity for herself, had Becca Borman up there with her for support if she needed it. But those two very much going to be the danger for the Sharks to try and control as they look to build. And it comes back down. And we'll get a whistle on the play for icing. So almost 5 minutes played here then, 1-0 lead to the Sharks. Face-off will take place in the Beacon zone, over on the far side. Comes back for I think it was Gemma Watts trying to pinch in there, number 48 on the blue line. Comes back for Harrison, who will drop back and control, banks it off the boards and plays it into space. She'll to try and get it out to Becca Boardman, but it was well read on the far side by Watt. Boardman would look to exploit that explosive pace that she has. Looking to get away. It will come to her now. And say she's Second time she's come up against her old team. Flicked into the corner as comes across to Rutherford. Getting the puck under control. And to Harrison, who flicks on and will look to try and break out. Watt trying to go with her. Trying to play the player rather than the puck there. And to Georgia Wilkinson. Gets it under control. She only began skating a little over a year ago. So her development as a hockey player has been fantastic. Stepfather, who's a goalie, played rec hockey for the Newcastle Predators. So hockey very much in our family. Directed away. Overcome. Gone. Clark, who's double shifting really at centre, going to have a lot of ice time herself. As Murdoch cushions it back. Cleared from the defensive zone by Caitlin Jones. Over on the far side is Murdoch, who will carry in. Slips it forward for Young. Good work by Jones, and then a poke check from Jess Kinghorn gets it away. As Lisa Eden comes across, she's normally a winger, but playing out of position on D to help out. I seem to remember she did the same thing up in Dumfries when these two sides met in December. As that shot comes through, Clark couldn't quite get on the rebound, and it allows Jess Kinghorn to get the puck away. That ripples the side of the net, but it was on the outside as Young comes in, but Jones will get there first and clear. Great opportunity this really for the likes of Caitlin Jones and Amelia Hutchinson, who I say two of the players coming in from the Beacons under 16 team, so good to see them getting senior time and senior minutes. Comes back out, and North End will leave that one for Rutherford. So very short of options today at the back, so these four will be expected to carry a lot of the weight. As fired in from Harrison, big rebound, nobody there to capitalise, and Hutchinson has to delay before dumping in as 2 or 3 players were coming back from an offside position. Sharks will control behind the net, out wide off the boards. Murdoch can't control, it will come back to the Beacons on the far side. And Sally Hinton, who makes her seasonal debut. Great to see her back in her Beacons uniform, Beacons jersey. She's a professional golfer, so can't always commit to every game, but she's a quality player on the wing as Muir floats one in. That's going to be gloved and brought in by Jess Kinghorn, so we'll get a face-off in the Beacon zone. Back into the Shark zone temporarily, but they'll clear, and then Trachtenberg will look to get away with the import who scored the opening goal. And then she'll control again. Nice work by Harrison, who just hip checks her there and forces the turnover in the defensive zone. Good play by Iona Harrison. And on the far side now, it's Vicky Hayter who blows a tyre. Rutherford will control and then look for an option. Harrison and will come across and help out, but still with the Sharks. And big wind-up shot by Trachtenberg, and that's rifled into the bottom corner. She just had to get the puck under control, and once she did, laser beam finish into the bottom corner, and there's nothing that the Beacons could do about it. And 2-0 lead then for the league leaders. Back in action next week, next Saturday on home ice. So the 2 number 8s going for the face-off, Harrison and Trachtenberg, and it's the Beacons who come out with it. Jones will carry into the offensive zone, needs a passing option, but poke check from Meikle takes it away as Borman closes in on the far side. Come across once again. Picked off by Trachtenberg once again. She'll look to carry out. Take some stopping when she gets into full flow like that, as Mo Muir sends one in on net, forces the rebound. And Harrison doing a good job taking it behind the net. Jones will pick up the slack and look to motor forward. Picked in on the far side. Comes back now for Lisa Eden, who's trying to hustle the play and carry it out the zone, but this stifling forecheck really by the Sharks, making sure the puck stays in the offensive zone. Watt dumps in. Eden will come across and carries it over. And works loose, so it's a good play by Harrison to find Boardman. Now she'll look to try and carry out, pokes it past Watt. She'll try and go along the boards, but Watt read that and closed the door on it. Sharks will look to play out, and then it comes across. Picked off by Rutherford, but straight into the offensive zone. I've got another shot away there with Sharks. It was a good effort there by Gemma Watt, who was up from the back, forcing a save out of Jess Kinghorn out and keep the offensive zone face-off for the Sharks. Won by the Sharks. Nice clean draw. Shot coming in from Emma Miller. There's the number 60, doesn't have a name on her jersey, but that's her, the number 60. Partner in Naomi Fisher on the D. Puck will clear the zone. Fisher just telling her defensive partner, you've got time. And they'll play in. Clark carries in on the far side, tries to find Craig, her usual line mate. Shot comes in, pad save, comes out. Rutherford will go into the corner and dig it back out. They find Wilkinson on the near side and she'll send it down. Sharks will come down. This time it's going to be called an icing, and this time it will be correct with 7:46 left in this opening period. 2-0 Sharks. Fakes off in the Beacon zone then. As Tanya Royce's line will stay out there. She's got Georgia Wilkinson alongside her and Havana Tilley. It's a good draw that by Royce, who's a former figure skater. Her daughter plays her in the 16 team as well. Craig carries in. Nice poke check by Royce once again. Rutherford trying to help to sweep clear. Shot from distance comes in from Craig and just flashes wide. Tanya Royce, who I mentioned there before, she's the star of the promotional poster for this game, the victim of the shark, if you like, of Jaws. For those of you who have seen it and know what I'm talking about, she's the Beacons player in that picture. She said she did enjoy it. She did laugh when she saw the picture. Wilkinson carries in. And, takes the pressure off the defence, being in the offensive zone, and then they're going to whistle a play here on... Not quite sure what they're saying here, to be honest with you. There's some confusion, and it is Georgia Wilkinson who's going in, saying a cross-check. I must admit I missed that, sorry folks. But yeah, that was a bit of a dubious call, I've got to say, because I didn't see anything untoward there. But anyway, it's a power play to the Sharks. That means the face-off comes back down into a Beacon zone. Clark will take the draw. He's got Craig to her right. Russell just behind and a couple of passing options to her left. But it's won by Paige Brooks, and it will clear out the zone, collected by Fisher. Across to Russell. Switching the play to Clark on the far side, who carries in. Boardman, who tried to disrupt the play there, and Lisa Eden doing some good work as well. The shot comes in, but just sort of flicked over the top of the goal and over the top of Jess Kinghorn's head, and then the follow-up shot. That's a great save, actually, as she jeweled it off at her elbow. Jess, she did a smart stop to get something on that and turn it aside and get it away. It's dumped all the way back down the other end of the ice. Comes back to the Sharks, who look to carry in. Trachtenberg can't control, and then she will eventually carry it in. Crouch on the far side, gets caught in possession. Beacons will push out. That's good play there by Caitlin Jones. I'm saying she's up from the back, but good play by her. She's one of the more senior players on the under-16s team now. And she's certainly benefiting from playing these minutes on the senior team. Nice pass by Trachtenberg to pick out Young on the back post, block aside, but Jess just got something on it and cleared the lines, got it away into a corner. With 34 seconds left on the Sharks power play, got a shot away out there, Richie Young, who fires, but Jess gets down again, and there's enough sticks going in there. I think Islay Northend did it enough to break the play up, and then Jess was just able to lie on the puck and cover it up. And that was good defensive coverage there, and good play by the Beacons. Face off to the left of Jess Kinghorn's net as she's looking at it, comes back out to Miller. Shot charged down by a combination of Sally Hinton and Amelia Hutchinson, I think. So one of them got their stick on it at least. Trachtenberg in the high slot, but good play this once again as that just flashes wide. Some good effort this by the Beacons defensively. They're playing hard. Hutchinson looking to get a break on here with 2 seconds left of his penalty to kill. Now the Beacons are back to full strength, and they've killed that power play off very well indeed. Hinton with a centering pass. Hutchinson will collect at the high slot, drifting out wide. Got Georgia Wilkinson fresh out the box. He just flashes wide. As the Sharks will control behind the net now, look to try and counter. Nice pass, tape to tape there to Elise Trachtenberg. She gets in behind Rutherford. A good stop by Jess Kinghorn there, who's just stonewalled her. And she's having a very solid period, Jess. Russell fires. Blocked well, though, by Sally Hinton. Comes back across for Northend. She'll get it clear. And away by Hinton again, and that's rifled into the back of her net. And, well, I think it was Trachtenberg again. You leave her unmarked in the low slot like that, she'll punish it, and that's exactly what happened. Rifled it one time, Jess never stood a chance. And that's now 3-0, 4:04 left in this opening period. Good draw by Iona Harrison. Comes back to Lisa Eden, picked off at centre ice by the Sharks and then dumped back in. The Beacons B team have only won once this season. That was their first game here against the Kingston Diamonds C team, which was their first ever game of competitive hockey. But since then, the Beacons have had a run of very tough games. They've played, well, this is after today, they'll have played Solway home and away. They played Widnes away, and the home game was abandoned 23 minutes in after, well, only being a goal down. And on a power play, Harrison cuts through, gets a chance, it's a good effort, but it was a good kick save by Meikle, and the follow-up shot too will be gloved. She'll hold on, but it'll mean an offensive zone face-off for the Beacons. But yeah, and aside from the playing Solway and Widnes, who have been very much the top two this season, they've also played away at Leeds, and every occasion have been short bench, so it has been difficult for them coming up against three very tough sides. But there's more winnable games coming up in the second half of the season, and hopefully we'll be getting players back from injury too, so there's still chance for them to make headway in this competition. And I think playing Solway was always going to be a tough matchup for them, whether it's home or away. Comes back loose. Good hustle play by Caitlin Jones again. As Paige Brooks comes across, flipped on by Muir. Paige, who's played a couple of games this season for the Beacons A team in Div 1, made the long trip to Slough. Clark gets a shot away, nice glove save by Jess there, who released it relatively quick, but it was a very quick whistle. So it means that we'll get a face-off in the defensive zone. going to be Trachtenberg to take the draw for the Sharks. And Tanya Royce for the Beacons. Comes back out to Clark, who finds Trachtenberg. Oh, nice, lovely bit of play. That is Trachtenberg thread a pass through to her line mate through the legs of Susie Rutherford, and she drilled it low for goal number 4. So back to centre ice we go. 2.5 minutes and change left in this opening period. 4-0 lead to the league leaders. And it's played out off the boards, collected in front of the Beacons bench. Puck just bounces over a stick of Rutherford there, and she'll drop back and control, but immediately she's got 2 Sharks jerseys swarming around her. North End will leave it for Royce, and then gets the return pass from Wilkinson. It will be dumped in, and Wilkinson will give chase with Vanna Tilley coming in on the far side, who's played exceptionally well this season. Played good last season as well, but she's had extra years experience, I think, has helped her, and she's very much one of the go-to players on this team now. Skating's fantastic as well, works hard for the team. And there's a great save by Jess once again, and she came across her line, saw it late, and then a good clearance there by Royce. Comes out the zone, off Russell, dumped back in. 1:20 left in the period, unchanged. Wilkinson will control at centre red, as Craig will looking to carry in. North End with an attempted poke check, same with Royce, who gets a bit more on it, and then I think it was Tilley who eventually got the loose puck, and then a shot from the high slot comes out, big rebound. Russell blocked well though by North End once again, and Beacons looking to push out. Centre cross over on the far side, as the Sharks will carry in. Murdoch on the far side. Look at his Croucher, sorry, my apologies. Poke check by Jess, gets it away to Royce. She'll look to carry out, and then on the far side, Watts will carry in. Again, a poke check, this time by Susie Rutherford, who defended really well there. Doing some good play behind the net. Back to Russell, who will keep it inside. Watt controls off the boards. Nicely worked pass, but then gets the shot away, but again, Jess makes a stop. And then a pass through the crease from behind, it's cleared. I think they were hoping it might bank off a Beacon skate and be redirected in, but they get it away for the time being, but not out the zone, and the Sharks are still building. Shot comes in. Oh, that took a couple of lucky bobbles on the way through as it almost flicked into the corner, but again, Jess turns to the side, and Wilkinson with a nice pass. She had time to find Sally Hinton. She'll carry in. She'll get a shot away, but Murdoch was back checking well and gets a stick on it. And that's enough to bring the period to a close, and a 4-0 lead to the Solway Sharks. And we will take a short break, and we will be back with you in around 3 minutes' time, so please don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Hillheads then, after a very short break. Sharks lead 4-0 going into the second period. And a lot of hard work then for the Beacons to deal with. But very much Catherine Trachtenberg has been on fire, as you'd expect. We're back underway. Carried on the far side by Clark. This line plays together quite often between Croucher, Clark and Craig. I suppose you could call it the triple C line, couldn't you? As it's dumped back in. Controlled by Meikle. It's out of Fisher's reach as Harrison gets it, Boorman gets it under control. Rode that challenge well, forces Croucher to lose her footing. And then Boorman will carry back in. On the far side, it will be controlled by Miller. She'll work the puck loose, just out of a reach of Boorman, who was back checking, forechecking even, behind the net. And Harrison doing a good job too there, just tangling up with Craig at centre ice. As Harrison looks to carry in, and she's worked a bit of space, a puck just getting caught under the skates of Mel Lydell on the far side, just disrupted that momentum a little bit, but it looked to be a promising break there for Harrison, but then Craig's in on goal here, gets a shot away, but I think Jess had just closed the pads and she stopped it. I think the puck eventually did go in the net, but it was after the whistle, so no goal, stays at 4-0. Trachtenberg's line is back out there again. She's got Murdoch out there with her. Number 23. And it looks like 15 Young as well is out there. As it's controlled behind the net by the Beacons. On the far boards. They'll work it loose. It will come free for Young on the far side. A lot of communication coming from Catherine Trachtenberg. You can hear the North American accent out there. Such a talented player, obviously, and the Sharks are fortunate to have somebody of her quality in their ranks. As carried back in, looking to set up the play, just flash through the low slot and through the crease, in fact, as well, of Jess Kinghorn out of her reach, but setting up well as Young stabs away in the low slot. But once again, it's Caitlin Jones doing good work to get the puck away, and again behind the net works it free. Watt comes in, shanks it wide off the end boards, comes across as Vanna Tilly goes across there as well. Oh, that's poked home by Trachtenberg, who makes it look easy. And Hawaii 5-0 is played. Not what you want to hear in your own barn, certainly when it's the opposition, but it's a well-deserved lead by the Sharks, and I think that's a hat-trick marker. And she's, certainly had a hand in 4 with that assist. I'm not sure if she had a hand in the other goal, but either way, she's got at least 4 points for the afternoon so far. Played through. On the far side, Lisa Eden, who's up from the back, trying to lead the rush there, really, adding a bit more offence, and maybe it is a bit more time for the Beacons to throw caution to the wind. And either way, at 5-0, you might as well give it a go, I guess, and try and work on some plays themselves. I think it's always difficult to play a side like this that's in form and strong as Solway are. So Hutchinson sends one through. Now on the far side, Fisher will control. It's got Fisher on her jersey and Warwick on the team sheet, so I'm never sure which way round it is. I know she got married over a summer, so apologies, but I'm not sure what his official surname as it stands now, as North End will clear out the zone. Nice play, controlled by the Sharks as they win it back with Hayter. And Clark comes back through to her. Yours over on the far side, just cutting through the slot now. She is really Mrs. Hockey of the Solway Sharks. She's very much the figurehead there at the club, runs everything. Does a lot of work for the Solway Sharks men's team as well on a game night. As Clark comes through, gets a shot away, big rebound. It's spilt and she's crashed the rebound home. And Jess just couldn't hold that initial shot. It was too hot to handle. And Clark collected her own rebound and fired down low to make it 6-0. Carried in by Watt on the near side. And then dumped back in by Trachtenberg, who prevented it from coming out the zone. Shot through the crease, comes over for Paige Brooks, who looking to break out. Can't quite do so as she's got a Sharks player over on the far side, preventing her from advancing. I think it's Russell, the number 27. Collected, picked off by Boardman. Around the boards it goes. Russell will keep it in on the far side. Some good hockey risks from the Sharks as they're building in the offensive zone. 5 minutes gone in this second period. It's 6-0 to the Sharks. 2 early goals for them in those opening 5 minutes of this period. As they'll look to carry out on the left wing. Paige Brooks almost getting a piece of it, and then Boardman too are looking to try and capitalise on a turnover perhaps, but it's dumped back in by the Sharks, cleared by Hutchinson, Jones even, as there's a collision with Russell and Harrison on the far side. Comes back to Jones, sends it across, just out of the reach of a stick. Carried out, nice play by Harrison, trying to get the puck off Trachtenberg, but it's almost like the puck glued to her stick there as she advances up the ice. Drop pass for Craig and a tic-tac-toe move finished by Croucher. And that makes it 7-0 now. So 7-0 and we're back underway. It was always perhaps going to be a difficult game this for the Beacons. Just one to really get out the way and get on with the rest of the season perhaps, as the Sharks are just really too strong for this league I think now, and you would think they would do well in the playoffs, which is looking, if you following the Southern Division, Division 2 South, looking like Streatham or possibly Peterborough who will be in contention down there. Streatham, of course, beating the Beacons last season, and that's a lovely finish, which took a deflection off Jess on the way in. And now it's 8-0. Jess just going over into a corner to try and refocus. It's got to be tough for her out there. Tanya Royce is lying back out there, ready to go again. Boards it goes and back into the offensive zone. Clark looking over her shoulder, can see Murdoch's out there with her. So I believe her first shift of the game, Karma Murdoch. Good to see her out there. Scored her first goal earlier in the season. Cleared off the boards. Fisher will come across. lot of communication coming from Lizzie Meikle in the Sharks zone. Even with an 8-0 lead, they're still playing with this sort of intensity, which is seen them at the top of the standings. As Clark carries in on the right-hand side. Hayter goes towards net. But good defensive play by Rutherford, who's very good at marshalling that back line. She's someone who really came into hockey at the beginning of last season, having not really played too much, but the amount that she's improved in that time has been fantastic, and it is a credit to both her and the coaching setup here at Whitley Bay, and which is what this Beacons B team is all about. It's about development and giving people a chance to play and learn hockey for the love of the game. And it's thanks really to Gary Sharp, who has invested in the club to enable this to happen, and for them to have 3 teams, a dedicated junior team, which not every women's team has. So the Beacons are quite fortunate in that respect. There's only 8 or 9, I think, across the whole country. So 4 or 5 now are in the north, and I believe 4, possibly 5 in the south. But either way, it's fantastic that the Beacons have that, and it's additional game time for some of the younger girls coming through who play on mixed teams, don't always get the same amount of ice time as their male counterparts. So it's good that there is a dedicated under-16s team as the shot comes in, hits the base of a goal frame. As I say, this B team, it allows people to come in who are adults coming in at an entry level to play the sport, but also with the like a finishing school, if you like, for some of the juniors, the likes of Amelia Hutchison and Caitlin Jones, who have stepped up from the 16s to play here. So it's good opportunity and a good place to really develop. And of course, that the reward at the end of it is you can get called up to play for the A team in Div 1, as has happened with Becca Boardman and Iona Harrison this season, and indeed Paige Brooks as well, who's guested a couple of times as Trachtenberg controls, looks for the attempted wraparound. Big cut back, comes to Watt, winds one up, took a deflection, might have come off Rutherford on the way through and away. Comes back down. Trachtenberg will control, really dominating this unit, quarterbacking it if you like. Over on the far side, it will be gathered by Trachtenberg once again. Russell sends it across to Croucher, fans on it, and then will flick over into space. Trachtenberg controls on the right wing, enters the offensive zone, gets round Jones, but Jones doing a fantastic job of keeping her in the corner. Nice block there from a Mo Muir shot down low. Poke check coming in, puck comes back over the blue line for Watt, who sends it over onto the right wing side. Georgia Wilkinson winning the puck on the far side, but in the end, double team there, had 2 Sharks jerseys around her, one of which was Trachtenberg, who banks it off the boards before going for the change there. As we are now reached the midpoint of the game. 8-0 to the Sharks. Clark sends it over, Harrison will control. He blows a tyre. Still trying to control though. Wilkinson comes across to help, and then Jones will clear his own. Comes back out for Harrison on the left wing. Lovely flick with a backhand to try and play the puck into space, and Hutchinson will try and get on the end of that, but again, it's experience on the blue line there. Watt does well. There's a strong Shark side, as we said. It'll be, like I say, that I would think that they're very much the strongest team in the north. I don't think even Widnes and Leeds can really stop them now. So you would say it's really between them and whoever ends up being the strongest team in the south, which I just would thought it would be Streatham Storm B, who beat the Beacons in the semi-final of the playoffs last year and eventually lost to Swindon in the final. But they're a very strong side, got a lot of players on 2-way contracts with their Elite League team. So it would be certainly an interesting matchup, I think, the Sharks and the Storm, if that was to be the Division 2 playoff final later in the season. But a lot of hockey still to be played between now and then. As Sharks looking to enter the zone once again. Nice cut back. Comes back to the point. Fire back in through traffic. Turned aside by Jess Kinghorn, who helps it on its way. And then it flicks off the back of Becca Boardman's skates, but comes out. Fisher controls at centre edge, sends it across to her defensive partner, but then stolen by Sally Hinton, who gets it past. Fisher gets a shot away, blocker save by Meikle, turned aside, but first opportunity in a while that for the Beacons. With a little over 8 minutes remaining in this second period, carried in on the far side. It's a pass into space for Clark, who tries to go 5-hole. Jess closes the door though, shuts the pads. And I think it come off the knee, the top part of the pads, and turned aside as the play comes loose from the boards. Turned aside once again into the corner. Controlled by the Beacons. And Islay North End off the boards again as it comes out the zone, this time by Iona Harrison. Tips back in. North End will dig the puck out the corner. Sharks will use the opportunity for a line change here as Harrison will control. I say great puck mover, great skater as well, and that was well done. Tried to split the D there with a pass, but Fisher just closing the door on it alongside Russell there. As Young will look to carry out, over comes Caitlin Jones, who read the play well, and she's, for me, has been one of the stars of this game for the Beacons. She's had a very strong game at the back, which some people might say, well, when your side's losing 8-0, it might sound a bit of a funny thing to say, but you know what, it's she's made some vital interceptions back there. And for me, an early contender for player of the game for the Beacons, as that one is turned aside. Young will dig it out off the left wing boards, try to feed Trachtenberg, who in turn set up the play behind the net. Murdoch trying to set something up, back to Trachtenberg, cross to Young. I think Trachtenberg is passing now rather than shooting. They're in a fortunate position to have a match-winning lead, and it's about trying to share the goals around as Watt struck that one sweetly. I think it went 5-hole and come up back off the post, and then another shot gets looped up. Murdoch can't control. The Beacons will get it clear, but only as far as Watt, who controls at the edge of the zone, keeping it inside, and then takes it into a corner, sends it around. Murdoch will go across over onto the far side with Lisa Eden going with her. Back to Gemma Watt, who controls. Sends it back the other way to the Sharks captain, Murdoch. Centres it down towards the crease, turned aside by Jess, who just clears it away. And then a nice play by Sally Hinton just to clear the zone. That'll have to do for now as the Sharks regather. Rink-wide pass to play in Watt, cutting off the left wing. Tried to get a shot away, she will this time. Turned off the pads of Jess Kinghorn there into the corner. 5:22 left now in this second period. Going to be a whistle here, I think, as Mel's seeing something he didn't quite like. He's saying body checking. Going for Becca Boardman, is it? I don't know. I think both players have gone to the box. I'm not sure they were sure who that was going to in the end. But it's gone to Lauren Clark, number 92. One of their centres that they have, the Sharks. So a first penalty against the Sharks, but certainly her and Becca Boardman both look confused as to who Mel was pointing to. I must admit I wasn't entirely sure who they were calling against. I did assume it was on the Sharks, but sometimes you never can tell, especially when it's a two-man system for the officials. So we get the face-off in the Shark zone. It's a good win by Harrison. It comes back out with Rutherford calling for it. Trachtenberg picks it off, banks it off the boards and gets it away. Puck will come all the way back down for Jess Kinghorn to control. Oh no, Rutherford will get there first in the end. With pressure coming in from Mo Muir, who closes in on it. North End can't quite gather. Boardman will. She'll send it in for Iona Harrison to chase after, and she will get there first. Fisher will mark the crease. But attempted pass into the low slot is picked off. Trachtenberg has the puck now. Takes it up over onto the far side. Muir was there for the drop pass, and she one-times it low into the bottom left corner underneath the blocker of Jess Kinghorn to make it 9-0, and a short-handed goal for the Sharks. Paige Brooks was coming back to the bench there, but then coach JC told her to stay out there. They'll go again. Minute 17 left on this Beacons power play, but it's the Sharks who have scored early on in it. Just over 4.5 minutes left in his second period. Rutherford out to Boardman. Pass through the legs of Murdoch's, picked off by Harrison. And Fisher blows a tyre. Harrison not quite happy with something there on a stick, I think. Thought it had broken on her at first, but she was just, I think, frustration that it hadn't quite come off. But a very quick 2 minutes this, as the Sharks are killing the penalty well. Over on the far side, cushion pass to find North End, who will try and release Harrison. Comes back out, Muir pokes it past Paige Brooks, and then it comes back for Rutherford. Havana Tilly's open, and she'll receive the puck here on the right wing, just in front of the Zamboni entrance. Boardman pokes it into a corner, gets in behind Fisher, will control, nice cut back. Comes in through the mid-slot, but picked off by the Sharks captain, Murdoch, out wide onto the right wing now. With a shot away through, I think it was Vicky Carson, is it? No, Croucher, sorry. And it's carried out once again by North End for the Beacons, with a few seconds left on this penalty for the Sharks. Couldn't have really gone much better for Matt Kill. Managed to get a goal themselves on it and extend their lead, and whilst not giving one up themselves. And I'd imagine right now their thoughts are on trying to preserve the shutout for them. And for Lizzie Meikle, Fisher sends it through. The Beacons yet to score against the Sharks this season. Lost 1-0 up in Dumfries in December, but currently 9-0 here. Attempted wraparound, it comes back to the point, the high slot, and fire back in through traffic, comes off Harrison and away. Watts will cut in off the blue line, attempted one-timer from Croucher, just didn't connect on it. Comes back out, and the Beacons will push out and go again. It comes back through to Craig. Puck goes through her legs. Harrison will push out. And I'll tell you what, she's skated her legs off today, Harrison. Oh, she does every game, but the effort she's putting in, even at 9-0 down, that competitive nature. And I'm sure we'll see her playing for a Beacons A team again at some stage this season. Back loose. One-timer from Trachtenberg. Nice wrist shot there. 2 minutes left in the period. Dumped back in by Watt. Jones will control, and she'll look to carry out. As I say, she's, I think, had a very strong game at the back for me. As Amelia Hutchinson is brought down as well. Back through, will be gathered and cleared. 90 seconds left in the period. Caitlin Jones will control from Lisa Eden, who's an experienced head back there. Even though she's a forward, she's adds a lot of leadership, one of the alternate captains, as that's shots from outside the zone, and Sharks had a couple of players in an offside position, so that will indeed come back out the zone and back into play. Mel Lydell will bring the puck back down the other end of the ice. And we shall go again. So an icing call, sorry, not intentional offside on the Sharks, which is what's brought it all the way back down into their end of the ice. Tanya Royce will take the draw. One, and comes back to Fisher, who controls. Very unique jersey this by the Sharks. I know it's talking to a lot of the Beacons fans, and they were saying they were impressed with it. It's a nice jersey. It certainly is. It's sort of very much different to the male counterparts, but the only similarity is they both have a Scottish saltire on the jersey in some capacity. Played out, controlled by Fisher. Out wide on the right-hand side. Shot from distance, going to be gloved by the outstretched hand there of Jess Kinghorn. She'll hold on as Amelia Hutchison tangles with one of the Sharks players on the far side. Just under 32 seconds left then in this second period. 9-0 Sharks. And considering the Beacons gave up two very quick goals in the period, I think they've done well since then in trying to stem the bleeding somewhat. heavy draw. It will come all the way back out, and the Sharks will have to retreat as the Beacons push out with Paige Brooks. So she's the captain in Joy Hurst's absence. Wears the A normally, and it's still on her jersey, but she is the designated captain for the game. It's a lot of personnel changes since they won this league last season, as we mentioned before, just before we got underway. And these two really battled it out for that top spot last year. It was a great battle, though it went right down to the wire. There's a shot come in, but only 8 games played, 4 at home, 4 away, as we got a buzzer for the end of the second period then. And it's, well, a ruthless Sharks attack, really, which has added to their lead in that second period. We'll be back in around about 3 minutes' time, so please don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Hillheads then, as the Beacons are in a bit of a spot here with the Sharks currently up 9-0. But it's been a ruthless attack, a ruthless Sharks attack led by Catherine Trachtenberg. And we are back underway then. Iona Harrison trying to lead a charge straight from the opening face-off. For those of you who watched the stream earlier on, we saw a great play by Abby Coulshaw where she scored in the first few seconds of both the second and third period to really set the Beacons away. Comes back out, picked off, and the Beacons, the Sharks even have a 2-0 break here. Jess tried to go down and block the shot, but lifted over her pads, and Croucher with the finish. 29 seconds in, it's 10-0 to the Sharks. So, Sharks going for the jugular once again early in the third period. But if there's any consolation, they've been in strong form all season, really. Hutchinson back out wide, tipped in by Becca Boardman, who will dig out the puck, try to find Harrison. Those two really working well as a partnership. And across, just out of reach of Rutherford, it's brought in by Croucher again. Tried to bamboozle Jess in goal, but Jess stood firm there and blocked with the pads. Puck comes back out, fired along. Comes around the boards once again and swept on. Comes back to Russell. On the far side. Boardman can't stay on her feet, but it will be brought in by the Sharks once again. Quick look over her shoulder. Picked off by Boardman, and she looks to break out, and then she'll win that secondary bounce. Looking to cut inside, gets a shot away, forces Meikle into the save. That's Becca Boardman at her best at full flight, but just couldn't see the puck past Meikle there, who read it well. I'm sure she would have recognised her former teammate shooting and know where she was going to put it. As Catherine Trachtenberg will take the draw up against Tanya Royce. Won by Trachtenberg into the corner. Fisher will control over on the far side, looking to dig it out. Over on the far side, comes back off the boards. Sue Murdoch, who nice backhand flick to find Young in space. One-on-one, she is with Jones. She'll fire high, and a high glove save by Jess Kinghorn, which was one for the cameras certainly, but executed it well. And drew a round of applause from the whole of the rink. Drawn by Trachtenberg. Fisher over on the far side and then picked off. And it goes. Murdoch will control as well. Sends it into a low slot. Jones just got a piece of it to get it away, and then Murdoch looking to go again. I should say there's two Murdochs, Cara and Amanda. The number 23 who just shot wide there is Amanda. Comes back out. Sue Wilkinson couldn't quite control, but it will come to Royce, who continues to carry out. Nice drop past, drop of a shoulder there to get past Trachtenberg, but then Fisher was one player too many to try and beat, collected by Sally Hinton. Tried to carry in. Good play by the Beacons as they try to get a goal back, but back come the Sharks, and Trachtenberg, she's cut in off the right channel there. The Beacons with plenty of numbers back there protecting Jess, and stands the shot aside. Nice cut back, one-timer, and then lovely glove save down low by Jess to prevent the 11th goal for the Sharks. A lot of hand actions going on in the rink to the song. Always a firm favourite at Durham, the old Riverside rink. Cleared by Sally Hinton, and out it comes. Collected on the far side. Clark will gather, takes it in on the left wing side, cuts inside, gets a shot away. Took a nick off the blocker of Jess Kinghorn on the way through. She'll then cover up. And we'll get a whistle on the play with a little over 3.5 minutes gone in this third and final period. Draw comes out onto the far side for Boardman, who will look to play it into space, collected by Harrison, who will go one way then the next, gets some space, gets a shot away, but it was off the heel of the stick. She He just got away from a stick at the wrong moment there, so couldn't get any power in the effort at all. But that was the best position I think the Beacons had worked themselves in all game. But just unfortunate, really, the puck didn't quite land for it. Harrison sends across. Muir will try and get something on it and force a turnover in the defensive zone. Comes back across to the Sharks and Watt, who switches the play out wide left for Clark to control. Sends Rutherford one way, she'll go the other, gets a shot away. Nice pad save, finds the side netting. They're still scrambling to get it clear here, the Beacons, and whistle will go eventually as a bit of a shove there. I think Harrison was just a bit frustrated that the tussle was continuing after a whistle, so just clearing the goal crease. Trachtenberg and Royce taking the face-off draw. Comes back out to Craig, who gets a shot away through the low slot over onto the far side as a Sharks player takes a tumble. Back to Royce. And then Jones out wide to Brooks, and then back comes the Sharks with Trachtenberg looking up again over a shoulder, drop pass for Craig. Swept clear by Jess's stick, just gets it away. And then Trachtenberg again. Looking at well, potential one-timer, but Carla Murdoch couldn't convert on that, but they were trying to set her up there. Boardman looking to break out at the other end. Trachtenberg collects the loose puck back. She'll go the other way. She'll release the puck early though, and nice move there and lay off to Craig. She was attempting the return pass. She'll play it into space, but won't find Murdoch on the far side. It will be controlled and cleared by the Beacons as Murdoch will leave the puck. She was heading back to a bench. She'll leave it for Fisher to dump back in. Just over 5 minutes gone here in this third and final period. And back to Clark, who drops, Craig even, with a nice cut back into a low slot, right on the doorstep there of Jess Kinghorn's crease. Trachtenberg will take it around the boards, cut back again for Murdoch, who one times it, but it's blocked well by Royce, who got a stick on the end of that shot. Comes back to Craig, winds one up, come off the skate, I think, of Lisa Eden this time. Either way, one of the Beacons got something on it. Royce will have to go it alone here. Needs a bit of support though, as the Sharks are getting numbers back, but there's a nice surge forward that by Royce. And then I think they're saying the puck had come out of the zone, perhaps. I'm not so sure off what it sat up on the blue, but either way, it's going to be a whistle on the play, and we'll get a face-off outside the Shark zone with 6.5 minutes gone in this third and final period. Face-off up on the far side. Won by Harrison, comes back. Dumped in by North End. Harrison trying to go short side with potential wraparound, or maybe trying to replicate Ruby Newland's audacious finish up in Dumfries for the under-18 GB team when she scored against Mexico late in the game, her second in that game. Trying to backhand flick that would have been on the other side of the goal, but it was a good idea. Puck goes over on the far side. Again, banked off the boards. Works back loose. The Sharks trying to build once again. It will go into the Beacon zone. Picked out by North End. Poked clear by Rutherford to try and get it around Young, but Young's positioned herself well and won it back and found Clark, who gets a shot away, comes back off the post and over on the far side. Sharks couldn't quite control. It allows Rutherford to push out and carry the puck out the zone and almost into the offensive zone as the Beacons are desperate to try and generate a bit of offense. Nice play by Harrison. As I say, she's worked tirelessly, I think, out there this evening. Rutherford again does some good play there to work the puck loose. Again, she's had a strong game at the back. Very difficult when it's a 10-0 game, but the 4D that the Beacons have used have all been strong after all, and obviously they're going to post a lot of ice time. On average, they're going to each one of those defenders are going to play 30 minutes. That's a lot of time. Face-off will be to the left of Jess Kinghorn's goal if she's looking at it. Trachtenberg went in for the draw against Harrison. Harrison's going to push out the fast skating that she's famous for doing. Fisher in control. Apologies if it is Warwick, that's her name now, but like I say, I'm not sure. I'm just going off the name on the back of her jersey at the moment as it's controlled by Hinton. Comes through for Jones, who will control, banks it off the boards, but it won't go any further in a red shirt. And then back to Fisher. Back off the boards once again. Trachtenberg will control in that corner. Back to the point, and Emma Miller, as Mo Muir will control. Swept clear, but again it will fall to a red shirt. It's fired through and turned aside by Jess Kinghorn. Sharks looking to build once more, but nice block shot there from Lisa Eden, who just got her legs in the way of that one. Harrison will control. She's barely been off the ice in this third period. Got a really important role on this team, really, as in terms of minutes and amount of game time she has. As it's tipped in by Sally Hinton. Amelia Hutchinson just had to check her movement into the offensive zone so that she wasn't called offside. Miller will leave. It will come for Fisher, who controls, and Hinton will front up and try and force a turnover, and she has done so, but sends it into space. There's nobody there to get on the end of it. The Sharks will look to try and counter, but then Royce does well to win it back. Fisher will go again, who's, I think, been very strong at the back for the Sharks this evening. Having said that, I think she always has a strong game whenever I've seen it. As the player's gone into the boards, I think. Skates first, so hopefully she's okay. Didn't quite see it because obviously she's screened somewhat in front of a bench. And I'm going to whistle on the play then. We'll just pass the midpoint of this third and final period. Lauren Clark shuffles it forward to Croucher. Clark will return. Bourman trying to seal it back. And the Sharks will put that one home for goal number 11 then. There's a Hard Day's Night by the Beatles rings out from the DJ's booth. And never has a song been more apt, I think, for the Beacons. It's very difficult. I think Jess is saying it should be no goal, and indeed it is no goal. So I think Jess quite liked that one. So yeah, the goal doesn't stand. It will remain at 10-0. Comes back out. Russell sends it across. As Boardman does well to try and pick up the loose puck, but she had 4 Sharks players around her, so outnumbered somewhat as the puck comes back off the boards, almost hitting the assistant official on the far side, who I'm led to believe is Andy Munro's daughter, who has just recently re-signed with the Billingham Stars. So good to see that family members of hockey players get involved in the sport. And certainly there's always a shortage of officials, so it's good to see new ones coming through. Watts controls and sent around the boards. Controlled by Rutherford once again. Played up this left wing side. by Royce. Boardman will chase. Watt will steal the puck back. Nice play, it will come through, be covered up by Lizzie Meikle. She'll hold on, and we'll get a face-off in the Shark zone. 8:49 remaining, 10-0 Sharks. The two of us in the media section here trying to dance away to Meatloaf just to keep warm, if nothing else. It is absolutely Baltic here at Hillheads today, and I wouldn't mind, but it's not so cold outside. It's a relatively mild day on Tyneside for this time of the year, but it's somebody forgot to tell the ice rink that it is absolutely freezing in here. As Trachtenberg shoots, goes high, might have come off the top of the blocker or stick of Jess on the way through, but either way it's hitting the netting, so we'll get a whistle on the play and a face-off. And it is staying inside the zone, so one would assume that Jess did get something on that. And they're going to switch the face-off over onto the far side. 8:20 remaining, 10-0 Sharks. Won by Trachtenberg, gets back, kick save by Jess, turned aside. Young will come across, as will Wilkinson, who gets a piece of it and is trying to ease it out of over the line, and Harrison will get it under control. It's a 2-on-1 rush here for the Beacons. Still with Harrison, fires, it hit I think it might have come off the face cage there of Lizzie Meikle. It hit something on the way through, but I say Iona's had a lot of shots, or what I should say is the majority of the Beacon shots today, and works herself into some good positions there, but Meikle's been in outstanding form in net for the Sharks as well, and well, looking well on course for the shutout, and it'll be well deserved if she gets one. Murdoch around onto the boards. Nice play by Trachtenberg, who was almost like the hockey equivalent of a Cruyff turn there as she worked the puck back loose. And back she comes again. Great two-way player, Trachtenberg, as she does some good work in a defensive zone, gets control of the puck and goes back at the other end. Gets a shot away, it's turned aside though. It's a good pad save that by Jess Kinghorn. Little over 7 minutes left in the game. Work back towards Young, trying to get something on it. Comes back to Lisa Eden, who sends it towards the boards. Naomi Fisher goes across onto the far side and will control. With the switch of play from one side to the point, and then wasn't the cleanest of connections there coming through from I'm not quite sure who got that shot off. It might have been Trachtenberg who was coming back. Good block by Harrison. Puck comes across for Vanatelli, comes back out. Muir will control and right in front of the blue line. Dumped in by Jones. That will allow the Beacons to make one or two personnel changes. It's never easy when you're playing short, as we said, 4D and 8 forwards. So it's, as I say, never an easy task, but so many players unavailable. Kerry Dunn, one of the more experienced defenders, is over in Quebec, of course, right now, coaching the England in the 13s. Her daughter and her niece are out there. Her niece, in fact, Heidi Dunn, is captain of the team, and we wish all three, plus Holly Smith, daughter of Vicky, all the very best of luck out there in the tournament. I believe they have their first game later on this evening. World famous international tournament of the Pee-wee tournament in Quebec. On the far side as the Beacons try and work it loose. Jordan Troop, another one missing from this weekend. I think she's training to be an official herself, so I think she's been busy with that. But yeah, a lot of players unavailable, so it's made life more difficult perhaps for the Beacons than it would normally. Just over 5 minutes left now, but hopefully we'll get bodies back in the coming weeks. Sally Hunton gets a shot away, just flashes wide. As I believe the next game isn't for another 4 weeks, in fact, for both the A and B teams. So we'll watch how that goes as Fisher cuts in. Gets the shot off, turned aside though by Jess Kinghorn, who stonewalls her well. Fisher sends one towards goal, big rebound, comes back out. She'll cover up, and once again we'll get a whistle on the play. 4:28 to go. We get a face-off in the Beacon zone. Won by Tanya Royce. Nicely done by Caitlin Jones as she pushes out. On the far side as the Sharks looking to cut into the Beacons once more and into the offensive zone as Clark works her puck well. She's had a very good game. Her and Trachtenberg were two designated centres who sort of shuffle between the three lines, so they get a fair amount of ice time themselves. Tend to use three lines but two centres. Played up on the far side. Now it comes to Royce. Controlled by Paige Brooks. Nicely done by Clark, who gets something on it, centre cross. The arm went up there for an attempted offside, but Sharks have advanced down the other end of the ice now to negate that, really. Control well, back to the point, and Gemma Watt fires. Well stopped by Caitlin Jones once again. How many times have I said that this evening? Nice set-up play, good block by Jess Kinghorn, who covers up. 3:04 remaining. And we'll get a whistle on the play, and a face-off will take place in the Beacon zone once again to the left of Jess Kinghorn's goal as she is looking at it. Clark will take the draw for the Sharks against Iona Harrison. Goal won by Iona. Played forward by Susie Rutherford, comes out the zone, and Beacons will look to push out. Russell can't control, and Wilkinson's trying to, but just couldn't reposition her weight onto her other foot to gather that one in. Rutherford controls once again, sends it around the boards, and Clark will dig the puck out the corner, picked off by Rutherford, and like I said before, she's had another strong game back there. Gemma Watt cuts in, Rutherford with a poke check, and over it comes, and will be controlled by Russell, who is controlled by Craig. Nice cut back, comes back to Russell once again, fired through traffic, just flashes wide of the goal. Back it comes, Russell will control back in. North End will clear. Just over 2 minutes left in the game now. Rutherford collects off the boards. Gemma Watt will control just inside our blue line. Nice controlled pass, she had time, but picked off by Rutherford, and then Sharks will flood the zone, the offensive zone, with numbers. Over it comes to Craig, sends it across again. Rutherford flicks out nicely to Iona Harrison. Big wind-up shot, it's blocked though. That was some good play there by, I think it was Lauren Clark, who got a stick on that shot from Iona. Did enough to block it. Indeed it was Clark who's on the puck now. Again, another player who's been in contention for player of the game for the Sharks, I would say, but I think you'd be hard pushed to look beyond Catherine Trachtenberg with the numbers she's put up today, that she's posted. Less than a minute left in the game then. And the Beacons really doing well to shut the Sharks down somewhat in this third period. So they haven't really added too much. We've only got the one goal in this period, so they've done well really, considering. Dumps back in by Murdoch. Just over 30 seconds remaining. Caitlin Jones, who will control and carry out. She'll dump in, just out of Fisher's reach. And over it comes, as Harrison will switch the play. Amelia Hutchinson looking to break free. As about just less than 8 seconds, I think, left on the clock. If I can work out the bulbs that are still remaining on the scoreboard. I think that's going to be too many players call late in the game. But yes, it is, and it's going to be Lauren Clark who's going to serve a penalty. Seems almost pointless, really, at this stage. It's great to see Joy Hurst out on the ice for her first shift of the game. And she works herself back from injury. Big cheer from her teammates, the captain. And she'll end the game for the Beacons. She'll get about 7 or 8 seconds on the ice, but good way to test her fitness. And well, that was a tough day at the office for the Beacons, but the tests don't come any harder than against the Solway Sharks, who proven why they are so deserving of their top spot in the division and their unbeaten status. I can't really see anyone stopping them at this stage, and we wish them the best of luck for the remainder of the season. We're going to stay on air then to see who gets the Player of the Game awards. For me, I think that for the Sharks, as I said before, you can't really look beyond Catherine Trachtenberg, who, with the amount of numbers she's posted in this game, I think you just couldn't not give it to her. But I was also impressed with the other centre on this team, Lauren Clark. Both, I think, will be in consideration. As for the Beacons then, well, very difficult. But I think Iona Harrison and Becca Borman both worked hard and tried to offer some sort of offensive outlet. But for me, I think Caitlin Jones was outstanding at the back, and the amount of shots she blocked and the effort that she put in, I think it should be her who gets the Player of the Game for the Beacons. But we shall see, as the post-game handshakes are just about come to a conclusion. But I'm going to say it's about 4 weeks before both Beacon sides are back in action, and they will, I believe, be playing on the same day again, like we've had here, a double header. So please do tune in if you are able to. And in fact, thinking about it, I think they might be playing on, Beacons A might be playing on the Saturday, Beacons B on the Sunday, if memory serves me right. And I believe there's a Warriors game on the Saturday night against the Blackburn Hawks, and the Beacons under-16s will also be playing. So, well, a lot of hockey action on that weekend, but you'll have to go 4 weeks without your latest Beacons fix, unfortunately, as the schedule has determined it that way. But please do check social media for updates in the meantime. No surprise then, number 8, Catherine Trachtenberg gets Player of the Game for the Solway Sharks. I lost count how many points she got in the end, but she had a hand in the vast majority of them. I believe she got at least 4 of the goals, if not 5. But a couple of assists along the way as well. And yes, it's gone to Caitlin Jones, so 2 for 2 for me. That doesn't often happen, but I think 2 very well-deserved Player of the Game awards there. No arguments there. I think both were obvious choices. And, well, 10-0 win then for the Solway Sharks. The very best of luck to them for the remainder of the season. The Beacons will be back in a few weeks' time. Please do check updates for that, as I said. But in the meantime, it's been an absolute pleasure calling the game for you. I hope you've enjoyed it back home, and we'll see you next time. Thank you and good night.